Hey guys, today we're talking about whiskeys that make great holiday gifts. What's up guys, welcome back to Gents Lounge. I'm George. If you have not hit that subscribe button yet, hit that right now. We are here every week talking about whiskey, cigars, fashion, lifestyle, anything guys need to know. But today we're talking about whiskeys that make great gifts. So when I was putting this list together, I thought, what makes a good whiskey gift? And I came up with the conclusion that, it's got to be interesting, it's got to be fun, and it's got to still fit what the person you're buying for usually drinks. So I have something to cover all the spectrums from sweet to smoky, from inexpensive to expensive, so you can pretty much find anything for anyone on this list. Alright guys, so we're going to start with what I have on hand in the office right now, and we're going to start with Westland American Oak Single Malt. So you may have heard the term single malt thrown around a lot with Scotch. These guys are doing pretty much Scotch in America to make it very, very simple and very easy for you to understand. But they're aging this one in American Oak. They have one aged in sherry barrels, which makes it a little bit sweeter, and then they have a peated one, which will be a little bit smoky. Up next on the list, we are actually going to go to Scotland. So I have this Aberlour 12, which is relatively inexpensive, not a crazy price, but a good enough price to make it a good gift. And so this one is double cask matured, which means it's aged in ex-bourbon barrels and then finished in sherry barrels, so it will give you that extra kind of sweetness. This is not peated, so it's not smoky. If you're someone that's trying to get into Scotch, or someone that doesn't really like Scotch but wants to try some, this would be a good first Scotch if you are a bourbon guy. And up next, if you are already a Scotch guy and you really like smoky Scotch, Octomore. I'm sure you've seen us promote this before, but this is one of my favorite whiskeys. It's by Bruichladdich. Octomore is the smokiest whiskey in the world. It's very strong. It's 60%, so like 120 proof. Yes, very, very smoky, very, very good, and the bottle's super cool, so it makes a great gift. Now, if you really can't decide what to get somebody, a gift set might be a good option. So Glenrothes has this collection where they have 4 of their expressions. You can kind of do a little tasting, give you something to try, not full bottles, so it makes it a little fun, makes it an interesting gift because they get to try a little bit of the whole portfolio from maybe a distillery that you like. Bruichladdich has one as well. As you can see, they have just 3 mini bottles of their different expressions to try out. Octomore is not in there sadly, but it is still a really great gift. So moving on to what I found on Bevmo. Granted, I have tried all of these whiskeys, I just do not have them in my house at the moment. But I found Glenfarclas 25-year-old for $183, which for any 25-year-old whiskey, that is a phenomenal deal. So just based on, brand recognition and age alone, a killer deal. Any other 25-year-old is at least $250 plus, if not way more. Up next on my list, Highland Park 18-year-old, also if you're looking to spend that money. As you can see, it's 7 years younger than a 25-year-old, but it is still $153. So for 20 bucks more, you can get a 25-year-old whiskey, which is very impressive. Up next on the list is the Glenlivet Nadura. So this is kind of their natural collection. They have a few different cask types. There's like a green label, a purple label. I recommend the purple label because it's finished in Oloroso sherry casks, which gives a very, very strong whiskey. It's usually like 55 to 60% alcohol, a little sweetness, and a smoother aftertaste. So if you see that on the shelf, pick that one up. It's a phenomenal bottle, makes a great gift. Next, we're moving on to bourbon with Booker's Kentucky Straight Bourbon. It is also very, very strong, but you really don't taste it, and you get a little more bang for your buck with the strength of the whiskey. All right, moving on to Jefferson's Ocean. This is a Bevmo private reserve. I found it online, but they have the Ocean version in a lot of different stores. But what's cool about this is kind of the story you get to tell when you gift it. So basically, Jefferson's Bourbon put a bunch of bourbon in some barrels and then sailed it around the world once or twice. I think it's just once, but it might be twice. So basically, it visited all the North and South Pole and all the heat in between, and you get this kind of, quicker maturation and a very little salty, briny flavor in there. But it's a very interesting story to tell because the whiskey has been around the world at least once. Up next on the list is a whiskey for people that say they don't really drink whiskey. So I have Bren on the list, And this is a single malt that has been finished in cognac barrels. So it has a real sweetness that, you know, kind of cognac would have. It lends itself to a lot of cognac based cocktails. So if you're trying to make the jump from, you know, cognac to Scotch or single malts, I would definitely recommend checking Bren out. All right, and the last two on the list are also bourbons, but we have Four Roses single batch, which is just a phenomenal whiskey. I do think the small batch is probably the best bang for your buck of any whiskey ever, but if you're looking to give it as a gift and go, like, you know, a little above and beyond, the single barrel is a great option, and it's only about 50 bucks. And last but not least is the George Dickel 9-year single barrel Bevmo private collection. Now, I have a George Dickel 9-year single barrel from Tennessee when I was over there. So look, the branding looks exactly the same. They have different versions of this, but the one I had in Tennessee was phenomenal. I'm sure the Bevmo one is great, and it's kind of an interesting gift because it's a single barrel. It's never going to be available again, so it kind of, you know, shows that you went an extra mile to put a little thought into it. So obviously the bourbons are going to be perfect for the bourbon people. The single malts are going to be more on your Scotch. And then if you guys have a whiskey person that's not quite into whiskey just yet, I would go Bren for sure, because it's a phenomenal whiskey. It's a little bit lighter, a little sweeter than your average, but it's still got that, you know, whiskey punch to it. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not hit that subscribe button, hit that right now. I will have links to all these whiskeys down below in the description if you want to check any of them out. Comment your favorite whiskey below and what you would like to be gifted this holiday season. And once again, thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. Cheers.